I didn't learn in the manner one would caution you about. No lipstick on a collar, no late-night text that went off at an inopportune moment. I learned quietly, the way truth often worms its way into a life it wants to ruin, via an innocuous detail that looks harmless initially. He started coming home lighter. Not happier, just lighter, as though he put something down somewhere else before walking through our door. His phone stayed face down. His laughter became selective. And when I asked how his day was, he responded with replies that felt rehearsed, like lines he'd already recited to someone who mattered more. I reassured myself I was imagining it. I told myself love was about trust, and trust was about swallowing doubt before it sprouted teeth. So I swallowed, over and over, until it rested heavy in my chest and took my breath away. The night I learned for sure he was sleeping next to me, breathing uniformly and deeply. His phone buzzed. Once. Twice. I didn't touch it at first. I looked up at the ceiling, counting the seconds between vibrations, pretending I wasn't awake. Pretending I wasn't afraid. The third buzz felt deliberate. Like a knock. I picked it up. The message was short, familiar, intimate in a way that doesn't require explicit words to hurt. Did you miss me tonight? That was all. I didn't read further. I didn't need to. My body already knew what my mind refused to believe. I slid the phone back in its spot and then lay there the whole night, staring into the dark, hearing what betrayal sounds like when it's silent. He cheated first. I am certain of that now. But justice doesn't really come with certainty. It comes with choices. And every decision I made after that night would have been more judged than the one that ruined us. He didn't deny it when I confronted him. He didn't cry. He appeared relieved, as if unburdened of a secret that had become cumbersome. It didn't mean anything, he said, as though meaning were all that counted. As though intention could ever erase impact. I asked him why. He shrugged. I felt lonely. Lonely. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him about all the nights I had gone through without sleeping because I was waiting for him, the early mornings when I would get up and make his coffee, how little by little I kept hollowing myself out to accommodate his needs. But instead, I nodded. That's because arguing with someone who has already rationalized their betrayal can feel like screaming into water. We didn't separate. Not right away. We entered that weird purgatory we call working on it. Therapy sessions. Long talks. Promises wrapped in careful language. He said he would cut contact. He said he was sorry. He said he wanted us. And I tried. God, I tried. But something inside me had changed. I smiled less. I checked more. I learned his patterns like a detective learning a suspect. Love turned into surveillance. Trust became something we performed together in a play we both pretended to believe. Months passed. From the outside, we were healed. Inside, I was dissolving. That's when I met Daniel. I didn't plan to. I didn't go looking. He was always just a listener. Somebody who would ask me how I was, and then wait for the answer. Someone who wouldn't try to explain away my pain, or smother it in excuses. At first, it was harmless. Coffee after work. Conversations that lasted too long. Laughter that surprised me. I felt like I owed myself this much. Connection without dishonesty. Comfort without conditions. Then one night, as we sat in his car chatting about nothing and everything at once, he took my hand. Gently. As if getting approval from every part of me at the same time. I didn't pull away. The moment lasted seconds. And seconds is all it takes to pass a line you tell yourself you'll never come close to. I cried that night more than I had the last night, when I discovered the message on my husband's phone. Not because I loved Daniel, but I had turned into something I swore to myself that I would not be. I told myself it wasn't the same, only that my heart was already shattered, that I was a reactor to damage, not someone who did it, that I was lonely too. I said inside my head all the lies that feel logical when you're desperate not to die. The world tilted when my husband discovered it. He found messages. Not explicit, but honest. And the truth I discovered is way worse than lust. He exploded. Suddenly, my pain didn't matter. All of a sudden, his affair was a mistake, and I'd had a betrayal. Suddenly, I was no longer the injured wife. I was the bad guy in a tale he never tired of telling. Friends took sides. Guess which side sounded cleaner?
She cheated, they said.
They didn't add after. They didn't mention context. It didn't matter who committed the arson, they said. It only mattered who was standing closest when the house burned down. His family stopped calling. Mine wanted to know what I'd done wrong. I lost much more than the marriage over those months. I lost my voice, my credibility, the right to be angry. In therapy, he cried, loudly, about how humiliated he felt, and how broken his trust was, of how he couldn't know whether or not he'd be able to forgive me. Listening to him, I sat there numb and realized something brutal but clarifying. The first betrayal does not determine who pays the price. The louder story does. We divorced quietly. No dramatic courtroom scenes. It was just paperwork and split furniture and the elusive dull ache of shared history that's been relegated to boxes. Afterward, he moved on quickly, presented his new girlfriend with a kind of cautious pride, the way you might present evidence that recovery is possible. People smiled. They said they were proud of him. Their smiles softened with pity or hardened with judgment when they looked at me. Sometimes both. He cheated first, I longed to say, over and over. But to those who have already made up their minds about who you are, explanations sound like excuses. So I stopped explaining. It took years to learn this. Betrayal is not a contest. Pain doesn't cancel pain. And morality isn't determined by who stepped over the line first, but who brings greater control to the narrative after. I didn't pay the price because I was worse. It's because I broke second. Because my response was visible. Since my hurt did not resemble noble. Because I wasn't quiet enough in my suffering to be seen as innocent. Healing wasn't one thing, but rather an accumulation. It came in little implacable ways. On mornings when I brewed coffee only for myself. In friendships that never needed defending. In getting comfortable with my own reflection. I forgave myself before anybody else did. Now, when people inquire after my divorce, I don't give them the whole tale. I say it ended. I say we both made mistakes. I allow them to fill in the gaps however they must. The truth lives with me. It always will. He cheated first. But I paid the price. And somewhere between losing all of me and finding my own health, I had also figured out the quiet, hard lesson. Sometimes to people who didn't have to go through what you did, survival can look a lot like guilt. And sometimes, the most courageous act is to work while holding a truth that others fail to grasp and still decide to live straightforwardly after that.